Welcome back to Entreaty by Rhonda Hensley. I want to thank all of you for tuning in today, and I have a topic for you that has been a struggle for me, and that is letting go and knowing when to let go. And I call it release or be dragged. And the reason that I call it that is because when I don't let go, I get drug through the mud and the mire, and it's a messy struggle. I like to use the analogy when I talk about this about water skiing. I learned to water ski when I was about 8 years old. And they start telling you all of this stuff that you need to be in a crouched position, your skis close together, hang on to the handle between the skis, and you let the motion of the boat and the force of that kind of naturally pull you up. And then you stand up. And it's, 2 or 3 tries. And one of the things that they say is the most important thing is to remember when you fall to let go of the rope. So I learned to ski, and I got pretty good at it. But every once in a while, I would forget that main key thing, and I would hang on to the rope, fall, bounce on the water, get an enema at 50 miles an hour, get banged up, and then, and let go of the rope. Well, that's the same analogy that I can use to let go emotionally. What do I hang on to? I hang on to control. I want to control it because I want things the way I want them, or I don't want something to happen. So I'll get into the control thing. It's always based in fear, always. And I will hang on to something until I get to the point of surrender. Or maybe it's a grudge or resentment. I've had this thing for years, and I'm not going to let go of it because if I let go of it or not forgive, then I'm letting them off the hook. Maybe it's waiting for a situation to change, or people to change. And I can wait a long time and I can hang on to that, and it becomes painful, just like not letting go of the rope. It becomes so painful. But the intense pain comes from the hanging on, not the letting go. Even though that surrender, my surrender, there'll be something, and I don't even know what's wrong with me. And then I begin to realize that I'm trying to control something. So I have to ask myself, what am I afraid of? It's always self-centered fear. This whatever's going to happen and how it's going to affect me. So that's the reason I hang on so tight. And I will fight and struggle and just, and one thing I've learned is when I am gripping that tight, the universe cannot bring me good stuff. I'm hanging on to stuff. So I have to go through the process. What helps me to get to the bottom of that is I can write about it. And it, as I write, then things will come out. I like to write with a pen and a paper, and that stuff will start coming out. And I will kind of begin to see where my fear is. And I have to get to acceptance. That acceptance, because I surrender, I learn to surrender to win, And through personal development, I've learned a lot of tools on how to do this. One of the things I like to do is a brain dump. When I am struggling, I can brain dump and put everything down on paper. And then I have to run it through the serenity prayer. Is this something I'm to accept? Accept the things I cannot change. If I can't control it, people, places, things, and situations, I can't control that stuff. I can control my behavior and my attitude and my reactions or my responses. I sure can't control other people. So, if they're in that category, then, it's acceptance that I have to do. If there's things that I can change, then I have to have the courage to change that. To be bold enough to do something different. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So those are some tools that I use. Maybe it's wanting someone's approval, seeking that approval from that person that's incapable of giving them it. It's like going to the hardware store to buy bread. They don't sell bread at the hardware store. I'm not going to get that approval. So I have to accept that that person is not capable of giving me what I need. And I have to approve of myself. It always comes back to me of shining the spotlight on me. And the thing that, it's like wanting, I'm going to use the example of my kids. I want something to happen for my kids, or I want them to change. And, I might be giving advice that's not asked for, or asking too many questions, or getting too much in their business, trying to control an outcome with my kids. So I like to use the analogy of the file cabinet. And up in heaven, there's this file cabinet. It has my name on it. And in this file cabinet are all the folders of all the stuff in my life. And one day God decides he's going to work on that son that I've been, worried about or trying to control or afraid something's going to happen. So he sends a little angel over to my filing cabinet, and the angel opens up the drawer, and he looks and he looks and he looks and he looks. And he shuts the filing cabinet and he goes back to God, very despondent, and says, God, we can't work on Rhonda's son today. She has the file. So the most important thing I have to remember is those things that I have no control over is to keep those files in the filing cabinet so God or the universe or whatever can bring those things to me. Or maybe they're not what's best for me. So cease fighting everything and everyone. It makes the journey smoother. It makes things more peaceful. And the best thing I can do is just stay in the moment, right where my feet are. And then, if I can do that, boy, a lot of my problems are solved. Remember, release or be dragged. It's your choice. And be you on purpose.